Hello guys, it's Johnny time and welcome to another Web3 Security Podcast. Imagine transitioning from a stable Web2 career in DevOps to making a name for yourself in Web3 security, all while supporting a family of 5 people. Sounds impossible? Well, today's guest did exactly that. From struggling in his first auditing competitions to landing a full-time job in Certora, Flint's journey is a masterclass in persistence, learning and seizing opportunities in a Web3 security space. This one is an episode you don't want to miss. So without further ado, let's get started. So, welcome to the episode, everyone. Thank you, Flint, the one and only, the famous Flint from Twitter, from X that everyone see all over the feed. So, thank you so much for coming. I'm super glad that you're here.
Yes, thank you, Johnny. Very happy to be here. Very happy to speak my mind over everything. I say a lot of things on Twitter, but it's also fun to do podcasts.
Amazing. So let's start by learning who you are. Mm-hmm. How you told me that you shifted from DevOps to traditional cybersecurity to Web3 hacking. So can you tell us about your background a little bit, about your journey, how it happened?
Of course. Now, actually, I am not an IT professional. I never did computer studies. I'm actually an historian. I know a lot about capitalism and the long-term development of it in Europe. But afterwards, I had to work for money. So I did a lot of things. I was an accountant, a lobbyist, a debt collector, car salesman, IT salesman, tech salesman, until I discovered tech and said, here's the money, here's the future. So I did a boot camp and then became DevOps. 2 years at IBM. Then I started my own DevOps company in the cloud. I said, okay, this is really fun, but I can see the limits. This is not where the future is. This is not where the bleeding edge is. And where is it? It's in blockchain. So that's basically the point at which I said, look, this is the future. I need to get into this sector. And then I basically jumped in as fast as I could.
Oh, that's an interesting shift from historian to accountant to DevOps to having your own company and eventually discovering blockchain. Do you remember like the day or the moment where you discovered blockchain and you had this aha moment that this is the future and you want to work and be part of this future?
Yeah, because I was basically looking for something like that for a long time, because no matter what I did, there was always like a ceiling or something constricting you. Either it's middle management, upper management, or the structure of the industry, which limits you. And I was aware of blockchain, but not really exactly how I can get into this, because you can see it from afar and it's beautiful and it's magnificent, but how can I get there? And it's basically when I read Cmichelle's famous article on how to earn $1 million in a year as an auditor. That's the moment that really for me when the light bulb snapped on and I said, this is it. I need to somehow get good enough so I can do this. So that's the moment I went all in and spent basically every single hour I had to learn blockchain, to learn Solidity, and to learn auditing.
So you learned Cmichelle Christoph article about how to make $1 million. He was one of the best contesters in Code Arena, the biggest amount of money earned more than $1 million. And then this is how you essentially discovered blockchain and blockchain.
Yeah,
blockchain security.
Yeah, exactly. Blockchain security. Because I knew about blockchain, of course. I knew about, okay, you have developers there, but then you have to question, like, how do I get a job? Because a job, you're going to ask you, like, a CV, what are your references? What work did you do? I don't have a CS degree, which basically eliminates you from 99% of all human resources.
Really?
But
wow.
Because I mean, it's a sector where everybody wants to work. So you're competing. I'm a lot older. I have a very bizarre background. So comparing me with like 20 young people from university who want to do this, no, I'm not going to win. But when I saw block security, I said, look, there is no gatekeeper. The only thing I need to do is prove my skills. If I'm good, I'm gonna have opportunities. If I'm not, well, then I don't deserve them. So it's a clear-cut path without any obstacles.
So with this realization that you need to prove your skills, how did you approach your journey? Like, how did you start?
Well, first thing I did after Cmichelle, I just searched on Google and I found the Securian bootcamp, like from Rajiv, the original bootcamp, which I did. And afterwards, I just started doing contests. But it was honestly very difficult because I had no idea what I was doing. So it took like 3 or 4 months of doing my best to get my first cent in winnings on Sherlock. So it was very difficult in the beginning.
And you jumped into contests in Securium without the knowledge of the fundamentals of like how blockchain works, what is Solidity, what is the EVM, what are smart contracts. You like skip those and jump right to the security stuff.
Yeah, basically, look, I did do like a Google search, what is this? But like I said, I don't really had any foundation. So it was very difficult for me when I learned something to place it. Like if you have a foundation, but you know what assembly is, what you know what a VM is, when you have those structured learnings, you can take new information and basically give it a place. But for me, I didn't know really anything because I mean, in the cloud DevOps, it's just scripting and JSONs. You don't really need to learn a lot there to get a job or get success. So for me, it was like I have no clue what I'm doing, so I might as well just compete. And failure will be the best teacher. So just grind for countless hours, and somehow I'll get good, which eventually did happen.
Okay, so how did it happen? How it's like we jumped from like the beginning for struggling, being bad, and being good. What steps did you take in the middle to get better?
Well, studying as much as I can. I mean, also I did the course from your platform, which really helped because it was the first time I got like an A to Z run through of like this is how this works. This belongs to this. This belongs to that. Okay, I can place this now. So that really helped me to give me a structure in my mind. But for the rest, yeah, I mean, it took like close to 2 years of hard work. So 2 years every week, I document everything on Twitter, but every week just spend as many hours as I can reading code, reading reports, doing contests, and just grinding away until eventually I got good. But I think it took me close to 2,000 hours to get good. So
wow, I have so many questions. First, you grind and you learn and you study, and we all know that study usually doesn't bring money, but you're also a father of 3. You have to provide for a family. You had a successful DevOps company. How do you manage it together? Like, first, how are you able to provide? Second, are you still doing DevOps? Do you still have your like Web2 security side of things, or you are like 100? Like, how do you manage this?
No, well, actually, when I started doing contests and I sucked at it. It was so bad. I felt like a real need to do something big because technology is moving forward, and there are so many young people at university or who just live with their parents who are going all in 10 hours a day. And I was like, if I just do this like 10 hours a week, I'm never going to catch up. I mean, forget about the other people. The technology is going to move faster than I can move. So either I need to go all in and just make it happen, or I'm never going to make it happen. So I had some savings I had from my work as a DevOps, and then I basically organized my life to with my family to bring the costs as low as possible, as humanly possible, which is still quite a lot if you have a big family in West Europe and you're the sole breadwinner. But I had like a year of runway, so I said, look, the moment I had my first winning on Sherlock, 1 cent, literally 1 cent.
Literally
1 cent. Yes, literally the lowest amount possible you can win. That one moment was that, okay, I am really scared. I don't know if this is gonna work. I might just throw away all my savings, but I prefer to jump and perhaps fail and perhaps win, than just stay on the side and just wonder the rest of your life. What could have been if I just tried? What could have been? I don't want to live like that. So that's what I did. I just went all in, and then 8 months later, my bank account was at zero. Actually, at minus 4K. So that was problematic because I was getting like 1K a month in earnings, and my wife was pregnant, so there was also so some added pressure.
Yeah, stressful situation.
Yeah, so at that point, I think it was in June, I got a job again as in Web2 cybersecurity. So basically, that brought in like 10, 12K a month, just doing a number of projects in Azure and AWS. And then I was just working like 70, 80 hours a week, just doing contests, doing business development, getting my first private clients in, and just keeping it going. Until the mountain breaks, or I do, and the mountain broke, so I got there.
That's incredible! Wow, such a brave move, such a bold move, especially when you have a family and a pregnant wife. That's.
Yeah, I know. I was really scared, but so many people just don't live. They find whatever excuse to avoid any type of risk or anything that scares them, and then they live like a life is like half living, or just they wake up and they wait to die or something. I don't want a life like this. If there's an opportunity, I want to go for it, because otherwise I'm going to spend the rest of my life just wondering what could have been, and that's a horrible way to live.
Definitely. I also like taking risks, if it's like in your career, in your sometimes financial risk, because the risk is also the reward is. Of course, you need to calculate the risk and maybe put stop losses and so on, like, with the analogy, but also in real life. Like, say, if in 1 or 2 years I cannot, get X amount of money, then I will maybe try something else, like put like hard stop losses or conditions. Okay, so people who don't know, you also share everything on X, on Twitter. You have 3,000 followers.
Yeah.
0x Flint on X. And you were the first one that I saw that was sharing literally like a timeline of how much time he's spending on auditing, math, gym, family activities. Like you were an open book. So first, I want to ask you, what inspired you to start this, and if it was my course, because in my course I told students to share your journey, to have public presence in one of the chapters. I'm wondering if it was this reason, and like tell me more about it, like how you started it, why you kept going. Was it hard? Was it not hard? Did it help? Did it not help? Like everything about your social presence.
Yeah. So at first, I was like, look, this is blockchain. We all have anonymous accounts. So if I am going to make a career in this, I need to have an identity. I need to have a presence somehow. And because we can't, for reasons of security, can't really use our real names, you have to have an anonymous name, but you have to have an identity, and you build the identity. So that was one part. The other one was accountability. I was like, look, I'm going to say I'm going to work X hours this week, and I'm going to show it every day. And if I don't want to show that I was lazy, I don't want to show that I failed, because that's painful. So that's going to motivate me to work more. And thirdly, also because when you look at Twitter space, it's always, you have the impression that everybody is like an Einstein level superstar who makes 10, 20K when they go in the bathroom break and they come back and they make $1 million. Because anytime anybody makes a big hit, like 100K or 20K, they put a post on Twitter. And then it's silence. A lot of those people, I ask them then, like, hey, how are you? It's like, yeah, I'm going broke. I got 100K now. I got 6 months of nothing. I'm scared. I'm under pressure. I don't know what my finances are going to do. And that's the real picture. I also wanted to share the ups and downs. Like, it's not like, yeah, you start and you're a superstar. I mean, a few people those exist, but that's rare. But the more correct and humane experience is I think what I did. Just you work your ass off every day, and it takes 10 times longer than you thought, but in the end you can make it if you don't give up.
Wow, 100%. And you are like trying to show the real side, the genuine side of things, which social medias sometimes fail to do. Whether it's X, Instagram, also people are sharing on Instagram stories and posts only their travel experience and fancy restaurants and night outs, but they don't share like the struggles. Like,
yeah, it's a fake image very often. I don't like that. So I like the truth. So I share everything. I did like 6 months where I had a weekly report how I was faring against Wojak, the burger flipper at McDonald's, and he beat me for 6 months straight in earnings. just working minimum wage at McDonald's. So, and it was another experience making the report every Sunday. Like, hey, I worked 40 hours, I got $5. Yay! But you know, it's what happens.
I was closely following your progress actually, and I really like to read them because they're very genuine. I follow along, like, because I remember I don't know, did you start posting after taking my course or before?
No, quite a bit before, but the first 6 months I wasn't really consistent.
Yes, I remember you shared, I read this, I watched this video, I solved this challenge, this was challenging, I learned this. Oh,
yes, I remember that.
Yeah, it's been I think it was like 1 year ago. But I was really enjoyed like following your journey. And can you tell us about like the shift point? Because I mean, we wouldn't be here if it would be like 1 or 2 years and you didn't succeed. I assume that at some point you got more than 1 cent in an audit contest.
Yeah. Well, basically, when I started, in the first month, I got like 6K, so I was like really happy. And then it was like 5 months of 1K, and then 3 months of nothing. And then a bit. Then in the summer of last year, I got like 10K. So it was nice. And, you know, if I was 18 years old and I was living in Romania or in India, perhaps I would say, yes, this is enough. It wasn't for me. But for me, basically, the shift point where I actually got good was something I noticed when I was doing a contest on Cantina in September, I think, of last year, Stake Up. Because very often when you do a contest and you're a beginner, you're working as hard as you can, trying to read the code, learn the code, trying to find issues, trying to find like threads to pull, and it's like it's not working. It's like you're against the wall and you're trying to, it's just at a certain point you give up, or you say, like, I think I found all I could. But
I'm sure the listeners can relate. I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very painful point, but I remember there was like a point, like something clicked in the back of my mind, and it was like, okay, I don't have a wall. It's like a thread. I pull more threads and more threads and more threads and more threads, and just it comes automatically now. It's I don't have to really think about it. It's like I revise one function. Like, hey, what about this? Okay, I took it there. Oh, what about this and this and this, and then the day's over. And it's just, you know, a question of how many days I have, if I can find everything. But yeah, it's just about I made the calculations, was what, like 1,900 hours studied, and then I found the click, like, aha, I got this.
1,900 hours.
Yes, 1,900 hours. And then I got the shift, like you said, that, okay, I can do this. I am good.
It's only 80 days. No, but it's 80 days that you are like, if you like literally divide it by 24 hours. But now let's divide it by 3, multiply it by 3. So I would say, why 3? Because I'm saying, like, okay, 24 hours divided, like 8 hours of like studying per day or working per day. So I'm going to multiply this 80 days by 3, and then we get 240 days. So approximately one year. I would run.
Yeah, because also, especially in the beginning, you can't really work for 8 or 10 hours productively, because the information and the structures are so new that after 3 to 5 hours, you're just wasted. Your brain can't absorb the information. So, I mean, I read that a lot on Twitter, like, I'm going to do a 100-day challenge. I'm going to work 12 hours a day. Yeah, that's going to be 12 really bad hours, because you're just going to sit there like a zombie. So depending on your background, it's going to take you a lot longer, most likely, simply because it's such a different neurological network that you have to build, and that takes time, I believe.
You are very measuring, very empiric. Like, you like to measure everything. You like to measure how many hours did you work, how much time you invested in everything. Where does it come from? Like, from your math background? Like, when did you start? Like,
it's simply because it's the only thing you can control. You know, you can work, you can do your best on a contest, or on a project, or on a business. You can't really control the outcome. You can only control your input, because depending on what it can be luck, it can be a technical edge for a contest. If Cmichelle or Certora happens to compete, well, bye winnings, even if you do your best. So there's so many factors you can't control. You can only control your input. So if you do a project or a contest, and at the end you can proudly say, I did everything I could, then you should be happy, because that's all you can do. And if you add up all those days where you did your absolute best, then in the end, I mean, the universe will bend and you will get what you want. But you can only control yourself, so you should only measure yourself and your own impact and input.
Definitely. Would you say that the smart contract hacking course accelerated your learning curve? And if so, how?
It certainly did. It brought clarity. Clarity that I was missing, because there are so many new concepts that you can't, it's very difficult to place them, to make a structure for own information, to know, okay, this bug is relating to this underlying structure, so I can find it if I do this, or these function buildings give me an indication. I mean, so I'm not very clear, but it's very difficult if you have zero background to understand this. And what the course really helped me with, it was the first time, like I said, like an A to Z introduction. These are the classes of vulnerabilities. This is how you can find them. These are simple examples and some less simple examples. So that afterwards, okay, input validation. Okay, I know what to look for. If it's access control, I know what to look for. Reentrancy. Aha, okay, yes, I remember this. So it gave me a very much needed set of tools to simply go back to that. And on that, I could build much easier and much faster than without the course. So, no, for me, it was a very good investment. I'm very happy I did it still. So, no.
Amazing. Thank you for the feedback. And you are more of like a hands-on learner, or like you like to read and watch stuff, or you like to code and to break stuff? Like, what is your type of learning?
Well, specifically for our craft, reading has very limited use, because it's simply breaking code. So you have to stare at code and simply ask yourself, how can I break this? And you stare at the code until it breaks. So reading about specific vulnerabilities can be useful, but somebody said you should only learn what you need to know, because the amount of potential vulnerabilities is also so vast that, yes, I can read like 100 vulnerabilities, and then I get a code base which has nothing to do with that. So I just wasted my time. And maybe in 6 months, I'm going to get a code base related to those vulnerabilities, but I already forgot all about them. So I think it's more about jumping in the code, learning whatever you need, whenever you need it, and just break code every day until you get good at breaking code. So.
Yes, for sure. So meanwhile, during the course, did you do contests and you were trying to like piece together the chapters to the contest that you were doing, or you were finishing the course first and then jumped into contests? Because many people like to, let's say, okay, they are now auditing lending protocols, so they go to the flash loan attacks chapter or the Oracle manipulation chapter and so on.
Mm-hmm. Well, I did quite a bit of contests before the course. During the course, no, I just focused on the course, because doing two things at the same time is not a productive way of doing things. But afterwards, yes, I can still remember, okay, no, it's this type of protocol. Okay, let me check what are my resources. Then you have Solidity didn't exist at the time, but you have like repositories of vulnerabilities. Okay, what was a course? Like, how did this explain? Okay, and then kind of write down in a small notepad, okay, for this class of vulnerabilities, I should pay attention to this, and this. So.
Okay. You told us that September was your shift moment. Can you tell us about like your most successful contest that you are proud of? Tell us a bit more about it, what it was, what were you able to find, and how was it? Like, tell us about your experience.
My best bugs. Well, one bug, let me think about this. Well, it's one bug in StakeUp which I really found really nice, because an inflation attack by simply donating a share and then donating 1,000 shares, you could make the staking contract. The variable. Let me rephrase this. So StakeUp had a staking contract, whereby they had a uint128 variable, which they used to measure the progress in rewards. So it was supposed to set at 1E18, and after which increment like very, very slowly. But if you donate one way, and then you deposit like 200 USDC, because he had a mil-watt calculation which assumed that any donation was 1E18. The resulting calculation, you could put the reward variable at uint128 max -1, which means that any subsequent deposit or call basically caused a revert, which broke the entire protocol. So that was fun. One was really, really nice. Like, okay, I saw this. So
nice. And it's classic like vault manipulation attack, which is one of the chapters that is also in the core taught by Owen, the founder. It's amazing. And how much did you get for this one? Was it Sherlock, Code Arena?
It was Cantina. I didn't get that much because there was a time I was doing like 7 projects in Web2, so I'm a baby of 1 month, so I had like 10 hours a week. So I found like a lot of bugs, but I simply didn't have enough time to cover the entire code base.
Okay, and how do you approach a new code base? When do you start now to audit? What's your strategy?
Currently, it's, I had also quite a bit of an evolution in this, because in the beginning, you try to read everything line by line, I feel, to just understand what does this function do, how does this relate. And then I had a number of months all about diagrams. I draw everything to understand the architecture. Nowadays, it's basically sniffing, just not really structured. I read documentation and the white paper to get an understanding. And then I just let my intuition take over. I just like, okay, what's the entry point in the protocol? Okay, this is the deposit fund. How does this work? Tap, 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 this function. Okay, deposit. Oh, wait, I see this here. This looks interesting. I go there. And I just keep going for a number of days. And then I look, okay, I have my list of questions. Is there something I don't really understand yet? Okay, I answer all my questions. Then a more structured A to Z, like go over the lines one by one to see if there's not like input validation, access control, that stuff. And then I have more questions, and I just keep following my nose basically until there's nothing left to be found.
And any tools that you're using apart from drawing diagrams, maybe AI, or I don't know, what tools do you use?
Yeah, I do use AI quite a bit. I use Windsurf with Claude 3.7. I think it's a very worthwhile tool in the toolbox. Not because it can find you bugs, because it doesn't really find you. Well, basically, it's like you're working in a team with a junior auditor who is not really smart.
I like the definition of like AI agent. Like this is exactly what it is.
Yeah, so
junior that is not very smart.
Yeah, but it's really nice because he's not really smart, but he's really good at making calculations. So you can ask him, can you make this calculation? And then he makes an error, and then you have to explain it to him. Then he comes back, you explain it again. And often by explaining what he's seeing wrong, you understand it a lot better. And very, very often it's like, no, this is wrong. They're like, what did you say? Yes, it's wrong, but wait a minute. And I go back to the code and I see like, okay, there was this little line I missed. And that's the part, you got the other part wrong, but this is what you said was right. And it was just a specific piece I didn't pick up because I'm just human and I can't see anything. But the AI is like a speaking partner with a lot of errors, but gives you a good reflection to help you in your search. So
I like it. So you're using it like a partner, like you're working with.
Exactly. Yeah, like a partner. Who's like,
you don't trust it, you don't rely on it, you just like let it find interesting angles for you to think of new things.
Yeah, it's like how does this function work? Okay, are you sure about this? So what if I do this? Okay, no, that's wrong, but what if I do this? Just let him think, let him spew like pages of text and diagrams, and it gives you more inspiration, more ideas than just thinking by yourself.
Cool. I use it also many times to write code. So, for example, if I have a theory or something, or I want to test something, so to write a test in Foundry or Audit, it's really good at that. Like
test writing, it's really good. It's basically write me a test to do this function, and then you start fixing it, tweaking it. But just for the boilerplate part, it's just so much faster.
Definitely. I would say test writing, maybe summarizing code, also good. Like giving a big initial highlight about a file or about. It can also grasp like multiple files and give you context about how they work together. Sometimes I ask it to draw mermaid diagrams.
Yes.
Drop them to like a lot of useful things you could do with AI. So definitely super useful. So you were doing contest for a while. Meanwhile, kind of like keeping your Web 2 job, cybersecurity, DevOps, so you can pay the bills, because it doesn't pay well until you get to a certain point. And at some point, you got an offer to join Certora, which one of the leading Web3 security companies out there, very known company with their formal verification and verifier and so on. And they do audits as well. So tell us how you got this opportunity, what helped you get it, and how it was.
Okay. Well, it wasn't actually planned, because at the end of last year, my plan was basically to start my own auditing company, Rock Solid Security. So I had been making some business development and lead generation for some small private audits. So the idea was simply to get the ball running and get more clients until I got enough stable income to go full time. But then I went to DevConnect in Bangkok, and I met like hundreds of people from every security company and every independent auditor, basically. Quite exhausting. And I also met some people from Certora, so we got to know each other. Like, hey, I'm doing this. I've done contests. Now I'm doing small clients, private audits, etc., etc. And apparently that was enough for them to be interested, because a few weeks later they contacted me to say, like, hey, we're hiring at Certora. Would you be interested? I'm like, what? Yes, yes, obviously, yes. So then I had an interview planned. And the funny thing was, I posted that on my X, like, hey, I can't believe this, but I'm going to get an interview with a top auditing firm. And Trail of Bits saw that. They contacted me as well and said, okay, I'm going to send out my CV, and had interviews with Open Zeppelin, Nethermind, QuantStamp. Yes, QuantStamp was also in the running. So I think it was just a happy coincidence of my portfolio being impressive enough and the crypto market exploding to the point that all the big companies are saying, okay, we need more auditors because we're not going to have enough. So it was a happy coincidence, and I had one big technical interview with Certora, which convinced them, and they gave me a very nice offer, which I obviously accepted, and then it was done.
Amazing! I'm super happy for you. When was that?
Well, I had my technical interview the day before Christmas. I had my offer the day after Christmas, and and then I started.
Trump got elected.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And then I still had like 1 month to finish off all my contracts in Web 2 to the handover and clean up, stuff like that. And 1 February, now 2 months, I started at Certora.
So first of all, congrats for being able to do this 100% shift completely to blockchain world and Web3. That's exciting and inspiring, and I'm super happy for you.
Thank you.
Because this is what you wanted, I guess, right? You didn't want to keep doing like web and JSON stuff.
No. So it's a Web 2 security. I mean, it pays very well. I mean, I was doing Web 2 cybersecurity through another company. The other company, they invoiced me at $30,000 a month. So it's not like you can't make a lot of money there, but it's just really boring work, to be quite honest.
Yeah, I mean, it depends what you like. For me, I found myself also bored at some point from traditional cybersecurity because it felt like quite repetitive. I used to do penetration testing and IR and SOC and all those kind of things, malware analysis. And I don't know, I just got tired. After you do something 10 years, maybe also at some point, smart contract security will be less interesting. That we gotta face it. We have to face it.
True, but I think the difference is Web 2 is kind of mature and it's not going to change a lot. Smart contract hacking is still so much in development. I think you're going to see so much more changes. I mean, hey, if something new comes along and it's 10 times better, who knows? But I can't see any better industry for people like us.
Definitely, because the blockchain industry is always like moving forward and changing. I would say maybe AI is similar because you have now all these models and prompt engineering and prompt injection.
Coding.
Yeah. So I would say AI and blockchain are the most interesting industries that people can focus on. Of course, there are many of other things you can do, and I don't think traditional cybersecurity and DevOps is dead. It's still like all of
course not. No.
is using cloud, and we still need people to do good firewalls and access control in the servers and the application security that is not smart contracts. We still need to understand that behind the smart contracts, you still have a web interface and you have user inputs and, domain attacks and network attacks and so on. And even the Bybit hack that happened was like a traditional cybersecurity hack. Traditional cybersecurity where I think they hacked Gnosis. The details of that?
I know. The problem was so that they hacked the laptop of a Gnosis engineer. And they used that to send a verification request to Bybit. And they said, well, it's coming from safe. It looks good. So they didn't verify, what's the term, the call code exactly. It's just like, it's from safe. It should be fine. Everybody approved by more than $1 billion.
Yeah. So it's a simple, I would say maybe even phishing attack, spear phishing attack, where they targeted specifically Gnosis developer and then injected malicious JavaScript code that will make Bybit specifically another second level spear phishing attack, only Bybit operators to sign a malicious transaction to steal this $1 billion of ETH from the so-called cold wallet. So it's very highly targeted APT, like we like to call it in the cybersecurity world, APT Web2 hack that was leading to the biggest Web3 heist, which still means that there is still some interest in traditional cybersecurity.
It's certainly not necessary, yes.
Yeah. So what do you do in Certora? So you got a nice offer from Certora. You decided to join full time. And what does your day look like?
Well, I work as a security auditor. So basically, I do private audits. Either that's with another teammate, another auditor together for a specific protocol, a bridge, or the other possibility is that I support a formal verification project. So formal verification is the tool developed by Certora through which you get symbolic verification of invariance. And very often we have security engineers who are working on the project together with the symbolic verification engineer to help them understand the project, to help them define invariance, to help them find vulnerabilities, so forth and so on. So it's basically that every day looking at code, every day breaking code, every day understanding code. So it's a hell of a lot of fun.
Very interesting. And you mentioned that you were trying to apply. You got Trail of Bit reach out to you, and also you tried to apply to Open Zeppelin and Nethermind. Why? If you already got an offer from Certora, I just wanted
No, at that point, I didn't get an offer. I got an invitation for an interview. Invitation. So I said, so that was basically like, okay, I can get an interview. So I was like a 10% chance I'm going to ace the interview. Most likely I'm going to fail it. So let's maximize my chances and send my CV everywhere. So if I have 5 interviews, then there's a good chance I got this. But the interview went very well, and they said, look, we want to make you an offer. So I said to everybody else, well, thank you very much, but I've picked the best offer already. So
interesting. So Certora is kind of like both auditing company, but they also have their formal verification. Yes. And what do you like more? Do you like to do like the traditional audits or to work with the verifier?
Well, the verifier, I'm just a beginner in it because it's something which is quite deep, but I can really see the added value of formal verification, because if you do a standard security audit, regardless of your skill, at the end you're going to make assumptions about the code. And the difference between a beginner and expert is how deeper they go before they have to make an assumption. But at some point, you're going to do this because you can't hold all of the code in your head. And that's where the formal verification can be very useful, because you can define invariants and then they get mathematically proven. So you know this is true or not. So it's not an assumption. It's not something which is 99% you're certain that this holds. You know it holds. So this is very useful, especially also when developing a protocol, because this can guide the developers to let them know exactly when there is an issue for stuff they simply missed or they assumed was still true. but perhaps wasn't. So it's a very good tool. I'm looking forward to increasing my skill in this, because the issue is not so much as finding an invariant, but defining the rule and also binding the process to limiting all the functions used, the inputs used, so it doesn't use nonsensical amounts, for example, or nonsensical message senders. So there's quite a bit of skill acquisition I still need to do, but it's a very, very interesting tool.
Cool. I've never explored the formal verification tool, but I know it's very useful. Mm-hmm. I interviewed on this channel Dravi in the past. I don't know if he's still working.
Yeah.
And if you guys work together, but he's a very cool guy.
Yeah, he is. He's the one who interviewed me.
The one who interviewed. If you can share, just don't share like specifics, but was it hard? Was it like, what helped you succeed in the interview? What helped you to land this job?
Well, I think what they basically want to know is, can you think? Can you show insight? This for me, it was like, hey, talk about this, a code base or a contest you did. Show us some findings and on how did you get there. And they want to know, how is he thinking about the code base? Does he really understand it? Does he understand also what he found, and how do you propose mitigations? So I think they simply want to know, if we give him a code base, is he going to be able to understand this? If he is able to break this, to fix this? So just insight and expertise is what they're looking for.
So is there a way to prepare for something like this, or just...
Yeah, get good.
Like
yeah,
constant grind. Like
that's like Alex the Entrepreneur is also on Twitter from Recon. He made a tweet a long time ago, which I found really relevant. He said, if you're good, you're going to get opportunities. If you're not good, shut the fuck up and get good. Basically, it's very bipolar. Either you're good and there is no issue, or you're not and there's no issue, because you shouldn't get an opportunity.
That's an interesting way to look at things. Okay. So how do you look at your future? Like, you achieved your goals, right? Or do you have other goals that you want to achieve in the future? What's your plans?
Oh, well, I achieved my first goal, to be fully in blockchain as a security auditor. But, as an auditor, I still think I have a massive roadway to go. I mean, if you look at the most famous, the best auditors today, like for a few names, Cmichelle, Certora, Leastwood, Detrose, Oaks 52, there's a massive gap. So I have countless of hours still to invest to get to their level. At which points, most likely, they're going to be another floor above. But it makes it fun. So no, for me, I simply want to advance in my skill till I'm at this point that if I join a contest, aside from 3 people, I know I can win, that I am the best. So, and that's going to be years, but it's not a problem. So I can still rack up the hours, make a tower of expertise bigger and bigger, rewards and money and all that stuff that follows after. If you just put skill acquisition first and you make that your priority, once you get good, then anything else you want will follow naturally.
That's a huge goal, but I'm sure you will achieve it, like you achieved yours at some point. Can you share some tips for like along the journey? If you could like find 3 things that help you progress, that help you stick around, overcome challenges, win a contest, get the job opportunity. It could be any tips regarding learning, regarding networking, regarding everything. 3 tips for beginners.
Okay. Well, I think the most important advice I can give relates to mental resilience, because a lot of people look at the sector and they say, oh my God, I see people making 100K. This is so awesome. I mean, you don't have to go to an office. You just sit behind your desk and you make all the money in the world. And then they try to break into the sector and they discover it's really hard and they give up. 2 years ago, when I started all of this, I met like 20 other people who were just starting like me. 2 years later, aside from Nicedo, who just got a job at Trail of Bits, everybody else gave up because they all underestimated how hard.
Of course, another graduate of SCH, by the way. Nicedo.
Oh, there we go.
Everyone through the course. Everyone is like part of all of them are my child. I'm proud, man. Like, and it's all people. I have like literally 15 years old student, like, and people that are married with kids, with careers, professors, like, all kinds of students. And this is like what inspires me the most. And to know that I had effect, I had positive impact, and I was able to help and influence, even if a little bit, some of these people, and to see like your success, that some of you landed jobs in Trail of Beats, Certora, became like great auditor competitors, have clients. It's wow. This is the best I could ask for. So thank you.
Of course. So I was saying, it's really hard. And I see a lot of people also do like 100-day challenges, or I'm gonna give it all for 3 months, and then when it doesn't work, they give up. And that's the error that a lot of people make. If you really want to do this, then you have to assume it's going to take at least 10 times as long as your initial estimation. So instead of a 100-day challenge, do a 1,000-day challenge. That's 3 years. Are you going to be able to make it after 3 years? Yes. Most likely a lot shorter. But assume it takes 3 years. What's wrong with that? It's just 3 years. 3 years of giving everything you got, and you have a position where you'll be able to make millions in the long term in a magnificent industry. That's a good deal. That's a lot better than working 40 years at a shitty job at a mediocre pay, wondering why you didn't make anything about your life. So my first advice would be to start this with an understanding that it might take a very long time, but if I keep going and I just never give up, then I'm going to achieve this. But if you make it conditional on a certain date or a certain amount, then you're setting yourself up for failure. So
great advice.
Yeah. Secondly, for specific skill acquisition, I wouldn't really spend too much time on do I have to go to Solidity or Rust or Tyro or Move or Aptos? I mean, there's always a specific language or a niche which is becoming popular. Just do something. Do something and stick to it. Either pick Solidity or pick Rust and just, okay, I'm going to put in 4,000 hours in this one. And just keep going. But don't second guess yourself like, oh my God, I see now a big contest on Pectra. Maybe I should have done this. And a month later, oh, fuel is coming back. Maybe I should jump this. So jumping all the time only makes it so that you stay a beginner in everything. So pick something, whatever it is, and just go for it. And thirdly, yes, we're a digital industry with everybody with digital identities. So make an identity, go on Twitter, go on X, share everything you do, the ups and downs, and you'll get an identity, you'll get a reputation, and people will appreciate you for who you are. So don't try to hide the bad stuff, because everybody knows it's also part of life. So just show you who you really are, and people will appreciate you for it.
Amazing advice. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Okay, to wrap up, I really enjoyed this conversation. Thank you so much for all the insights, all the tips, and everything that you shared. And I'm super proud of your success and your journey. Like I told you that I just had a conversation with Arsen, and it's incredible to see how he, for example, also had like 4 months where he failed in like you, like earned 1 cent and what's not. And he kept running, kept working hard, not quitting. So it's the same thing that they can see over and over again in the people who made it, in the students that were, because we have like around 2,000 people in the community, but not all of them were able to make it. Some of them are still in the process. Some of them are still in their journey. And the idea here is to inspire and show other people that it's possible. What make it possible, and give tips and inspire, and I think we're doing a great job. So thank you so much for taking part.
No, but it's like you said, it's like determination is the biggest factor, because some people get lucky, some people are naturally skilled. There's some stuff, I can't jump 2 meters and I can't jump on a basketball field. I just don't have the genetics. Other things I can't do. But in blockchain, if you have the determination, you will get there. Maybe not as fast as somebody else, maybe not as far as somebody else, but you will get there if you have the determination to never give up. And that's the biggest factor for all the students and for everybody who tries this, I believe.
Definitely. And I also think that you need to find your motivation in small things. Mm-hmm. So for me, when it comes to learning or to obtaining new skill, small things could be even, I read 3 articles today. I learned a new attack vector. I completed 1 CTF. I completed 3 exercises in the course. Small things that will get you motivated and tell yourself and sell to yourself, now I know what it is. I was able to gain the skill. I didn't just waste time. I didn't make money in this contest, but I learned about how this and that protocol works. I was able to I don't know, eventually it absorbs in your mind the skills, the knowledge. And that's how you motivate yourself.
No, that's also why I always measure everything, because my goal is not to learn or to win. It's to do X amount of hours. And if I reach my goal, I am happy. And I am proud because I achieved what I set out to do, work 50 hours. And that is what I did. And some weeks that will be magnificent, and some weeks that will be just like, did I waste my time? But I did what I set out to achieve. And if you continue to do that every day, every week, every month, every year, there is literally nothing you can't achieve.
Definitely. And it also connects to the second tip you said, it also focus on something, because just working, you can work, waste your time.
That's true.
But focus on something. It's very easy to get distracted and jump from one contest to another, from one ecosystem to another. But once you build a certain expertise in certain industry and certain niche, that's where you want to go. And it works in any business, anything that you will do, especially in blockchain, where it develops every single day. There are new protocols, new competitors, new chains, new whatsoever, new layers, layer 2, layer 3, layer 4, and so on. So if people want to follow you, the best way is on Twitter, right?
Yes, exactly. OXFlint on X. That's where I post everything, mostly every day.
Definitely. So guys, if you want to get inspired, follow 0xFlint on X. He posts every day. I don't know if do you still post every day? Almost every day?
First 3 months of this year, yes. Now a bit less, because I was getting bored of posting just my time every day. So now I'm doing every week with some other fun posts. So.
Cool. So if you want to get more content, follow him to learn more about his work in Certora as a security researcher, his lifestyle, his kids, and so on. So thank you so much. And if they want to reach out to you, just a DM on X, Discord, Telegram.
Yeah, just a DM on X. I mean, happens a lot, no problem. If you have a question for a beginner, immediate or advanced, just send me a hello and ask your question. No problem.
Amazing. Feel free to reach out, but don't expect for being spoon-fed, because no one likes people who want to be spoon-fed.
Yeah, my answer is going to be just work more. Why don't I have success? Work more. Why am I not winning? Work more. That's the answer to all the problems. And if you can't do that, well, then this industry, unfortunately, is not for you. So,
100%. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Johnny.